I can't tell you how excited I am about this company right now, where we're headed. I've heard so many, in the past year or so, a lot of bitchers and moaners and complainers. One of the reasons that people haven't done well, if you haven't done well, it's your thinking. That's it. I mean, it's not the company. Ain't nothing wrong with the company. I'm sitting here up here. My hierarchy's exploding. People making money, and still people want to blame the company for. Hey, you know what? I just want to end that right now. Forget it. It's you, all right? If it's going to happen, it's going to be you. It has nothing to do. The company's always been great. It's getting better all the time. If you're going to make it, you got to get this thing right between your ears geared right. That's really our major issue. Our major problem is us. So once we get a hold, we really can control ourselves, and we have a chance to win. Wouldn't you agree? Okay. I want to talk to you a little bit about how to build a base shop. First thing is anybody can build a base shop. I don't care where you're at right now. I don't care if you have 2 people, no people. You did no premium last month. You did $20,000. You can build a big base shop. Anybody can do it. There's some things you're going to have to do to build a big base shop, but you can do it. I don't care what city you're in, where you're located. All that stuff has nothing to do with whether you can or cannot build a base shop. Now, one of the things that I found out is I think you need to ask a few questions. Why should you build a big base shop? Well, number one, and I think probably the number reason I built a big base shop is for financial security. Anybody here security conscious at all? I am very, very security conscious. And I saw that the only way that I could have a lot of security from a financial standpoint in this business is to build a big base shop, because that's the only part of your business that you can ever control fully. I know a lot of people in the past have talked about, build a hierarchy and override your hierarchy and manage your hierarchy. That's a bunch of crap, in my opinion, all right? Maybe I'll step on some toes, but I don't care. You cannot build a big hierarchy without a big base shop, and you need to be thinking about it all the time. Number two, the big reason is that you get a lot of recognition when you build a big base shop. If you notice, a lot of our people are getting a lot of recognition, and you'll notice that I think even more tonight and tomorrow, and the reason is they have big base shops. Like Jorge and Sandy Benitez, or Rick Susie, obviously, right? Or Gary McCrummen, or George Verdugo, or Gary Cornegay. I mean, some of these people that have built base shops, they're going to get a lot of recognition, and if they continue to build big base shops, they're going to get more recognition. And if they stop doing it, they're not going to get any, especially in my hierarchy. So that's a big reason, because most of us are recognition motivated, aren't we? I know I am. I mean, I like being up here speaking. I mean, that was one of my dreams, was to have a chance to speak in front of large groups like this. And I knew the only way that I could do that is to build a big base shop. So if you're sitting in the audience, you're thinking, wow, I'd sure like to do that someday. You ain't going to do it unless you build a big base shop, okay? You're just not. It's not going to happen. You're always going to be sitting in the crowd. No one's going to know who you are. You're going to keep walking in all these crowds, and nobody will notice you. Like most of you are walking in these crowds right here, nobody knows who you are, right? Ain't that a something, huh? Well, if you build a big base shop, that'll change. See, because I came to some conventions like this when I didn't have a big base shop, when I was just getting started, and nobody knew who I was. And now, everywhere I go, everybody's stopping. Hey, by the way, I want to thank you. I appreciate that. That makes me feel very special. And I just want to thank you for that. I really appreciate it. I worked very hard to build a big base shop so that would happen. And I want you to know, if you do the same thing, it'll happen to you too, okay? Just like that, if that's something that's of interest to you. Another reason, the only way to have a big hierarchy is to have a big base shop at some point in your career. You will never, ever, 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 ever have a big hierarchy without a big base shop. There is not one single person in this company, ever in the history of this company, that has a big hierarchy that at one point or another didn't have a big base shop. No one. Nobody. All the big guys that are big right now that are, they don't have base shops right now, there was a period of time in their career where they had huge base shops. Every one of them. Including me, including Rick Susie. Rick's probably the last guy that has a pretty big hierarchy that had a big base shop. And he's got it back again. Do you know that Rick Susie, a year ago, October, November, did like $4,000 in his base shop, and a year later, 12 months later, did $70,000 or $75,000. 12 months later. So you that are at 4,000 or 3,000, there is absolutely no excuse for you. You just might not be willing to do what it takes. Another reason, it's really the only place you have any real control. I have a lot of great RVPs, and you met some of them, you've heard some of them speak. I don't do anything for those people. There's nothing I can do for Rick Susie or George Verdugo or Todd Mendel or Gary McCrummon. There's nothing I can do for them. I don't do anything for them. The way I've always built my business is through an example. All I can do is continue to build a base shop and try to set an example, make money, save money, but you don't ever really do anything for your RVPs. I know a lot of you want to think that you do, but you don't. They do it themselves. Yeah, I talk to them on the phone all the time, and sometimes I help them with their thinking a little bit, and sometimes I coach them a little bit, but I don't really do anything for them. Where you really help people the most is those greenies that are coming up, that don't know nothing about nothing, and you work with them, you develop them, you teach them, you train them, you help them get independent. Once they become an RVP, they shouldn't need you that much, except for maybe a little bit of counsel every now and then, and maybe to pick them up when they're a little bit down. But you really don't do anything for them. And anybody that tells you that, they're full of it. I have the best RVP basin first in the country. And I'm telling you right now, I don't do anything for them. But you know what? My base shop, I do. And same thing holds true for our RVPs. So, the other thing also is you can't ever get your RVPs to do anything unless you have a big base shop. You can't get them to do it. They won't do anything. Because your people always do what you do. They don't do what you say. They don't do what you tell them. They do what you do. Let me just this is a real key thing. In order if you're ever going to have a big base shop, you have to do this. You have to get wide. What does wide mean? This is how most people look. Let's say this is you. Can you see that at all? This is how most people look. They look like this. And this person does 8 sales, this person does 2 sales, this person does 1 sale, and you do 4 sales, okay? Now what does that equal to? That's 15 sales a month, right? This is how most people's base shops look in this company right now. Maybe not even that good, okay? But that's how they look. Now who runs this base shop right here? This guy or this gal. This person that does the 8 sales a month runs that base shop. They control it. Not this person, this person. And if you're this person, that is not a good thing. You are totally out of control when this happens, all right? You don't want it to look like that. That's dangerous, all right? Because what happens, you see, if this person decides to take the month off, let's say they go on vacation, or they just, whatever, a lot of different reasons. They get in a car accident, they get in a fight with their wife, they're having marital problems. I mean, how many different things could happen to somebody, right? Like a million different things, right, that you don't have any control over. Now look, this person goes in the tank, and now all of a sudden, instead of doing 15 sales, you're doing what? 7 sales. So what happens to your income? It goes down the toilet. All of a sudden, your income is in the toilet. It's half or less than half of what it was the month prior. That's why most of your incomes go like this, and your business go like this, because you look like that. That's a very dangerous place to be. The other thing is, this person can't grow because he doesn't have or she doesn't have any competition. All right? That's a real dangerous situation. Not to mention, you can't ever get this person to do anything. They won't listen to you because this person thinks they're better than you. And if you don't think that's a real problem, you better wake up and smell the coffee. Like Rick had a great month last month. He's had better months than that before in the past, right? One of the reasons I was able to help Rick do better when I was, in the throes of building a base shop and he was building a base shop, every month he was trying to beat me. I wouldn't let him beat me. I would work like crazy not to, because I knew the only way I could get the most out of Rick Susie is to stay ahead of him. And he learned that from me. He knows that's how he's getting this group to get going right now. There ain't nobody that's I don't think he's gonna let anybody beat him. All right? And the reason he's going to do that is because he knows if he keeps that up, he'll have a gigantic hierarchy if he does that. And he knows if he doesn't do that, he won't have the gigantic hierarchy that he's dreaming about having. So it should look more like this, where you do your 4 sales, right? This person does 8, this person does 2, this person does 1, this person does 0, this person does 3, this person does 6, this person does 1, this person does 5, this person does 0, 0, 3, 2, 1. All right? So who's a math whiz here? It's 4, that's 12, that's 14, 15, 18, 24, 25, 30, 36. What is that? 36, right? That's 36 sales. Another thing that's real important is you don't have to know how to add or anything to do this business. All right? Hey, that's an important thing. I'm not good at that. I'm great with the calculator, but in my head, forget it. I'm not good at that. But that doesn't mean you can't build a business. See, a lot of you think that because you don't know everything and you're not really articulate and you don't know how to add and subtract and all that thing, that you can't do it. That's a bunch of crap. There's a lot of things I'm deficient in, all right? Except that I know how to focus. I do know how to do that. And I don't care what you all think either. See, that's another reason I've gotten to where I've gotten right now, is I don't care what you think. You may or may not like me, and if you do, that's wonderful, and if you don't, that's wonderful. All right? Because when I go home tonight, or after Sunday, most of you won't remember anything anyways, right? So if I make 3 or 4 mistakes while I'm doing this, and I'll probably make more than that, so what? So what? What does that got to do with anything? I still made $115,000 last month. What did you make? All right? So it don't matter, right? Just that you win. I think that's an important thing. You need to get that down, all right? So look, that's 36 sales. Now all of a sudden this person goes in the tank, right? You minus that, you still have 28 sales. Now what happens to your income? It dips a little bit, right? But you don't go in the tank. You see that? You don't go in the tank. Plus, see this person right here, this 8 sale person? This person here and this person here, they think or they know they can beat this person. So all of a sudden the next month, they're going to try to do that. Right? They're going to try to beat that person. There's going to be some competition. And then this person that's done 1 and 2 and 2 and 1, guess what? They're not going to get any recognition in my base shop. They don't get nothing. It's just, hi, how you doing? They get basically kind of ignored a little bit. And if they have any kind of guts, right, if they're the right kind of person, they can't stand that. And guess what they do? They go to work because they know these people here get all the recognition and they want some of it. See, there's nothing you can do to get anybody to do anything yourself. Somebody says, how do you get people to do anything? I don't know how you get them to do it. I don't know how to do that. All I know is if I can get some people going and create some competition, all of a sudden I got it going. So what I worked on really hard is trying to find this person, and then when I got them going, this is what some of the things I would do. You motivate them through phone calls. I'd call, let's say this guy right here is Gary, right? And this guy was Steve. And this guy right here was Todd. I'd call up Gary and I'd say, hey, Gary, how you doing? How's it going? Where you at? You need to learn this word, okay? Write it down. Where you at? 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 That's always the first question that comes out of when I call somebody on the phone. It's not, hi, how you doing? How's the weather? It's, where you at? Because I want them to be thinking about where they're at. Somebody's got to keep them focused on where they're at because they start wandering, all right? So it's, Gary, where are you at? Oh, I'm at 5 sales. Hey, that's great, man. You're having a great month. Hey, I just talked to Steve, and Steve's at 8 sales. Hey, things are going great. We're going to have a great month. Hey, listen, I'll talk to you later. And Gary's going, oh. He's got the knife in his heart, right? He's totally, all of a sudden, because Gary's competitive, right? And maybe Gary was thinking about taking the night off or taking Saturday off, and all of a sudden he finds out he's 2 behind, right? So what does Gary do? Forget about the day off. He ain't taking the day off. He's behind. Now, I don't have to tell him, hey, Gary, you got to get it going, because if you don't, Steve's going to beat you. You don't have to do all that. All you have to do is tell him where the other person's at, and if they're competitive and I already know he is, he'll get after it. And if he doesn't get after it, at some point he's going to go away anyways, and I don't need to waste my time. And then I call up Todd, and I say, hey, Todd, so how you doing, man? So what's happening? How's business going? Oh, it's going great, man. I recruited 3 people, We got, 3 sales in. I'm really excited. Hey, that's fantastic. I just talked to Gary. Gary's at 6 sales. And he's got 5 recruits this month. Man, we're going to have a great month in the base shop. I'm really excited about that. Hey, listen, man, I'll talk to you later. And then Todd is dying, right? Now, all of a sudden, Todd's trying to kill Gary, and Gary's trying to kill Steve, and, and then I got the same thing going here. That's how you do it. It's very simple. I learned that was a guy named Mike Sharp. I mean, Mike used to do that to me all the time. He used to always, I'd call him, hey, how's it going? Or he'd call me up, and I'd say, oh, it's going great, man. We're in the best month ever. We're at 45 sales. And he'd say, hey, that's great, man. You're going to have a great month. I'm proud of you. Hey, by the way, I just talked to Ken Perrin. He's at 60 sales, man. He's got all 50 recruits. And I'd go, oh, my God. I'd be practically dying, right? Because I'm a competitive guy. It used to kill me to hear that, see? But I wasn't the kind of, well, he's just doing that to make me mad. I didn't care. I didn't want to lose. So then what would I do, man? I'd get on the phone. I'd start calling all my guys, man. I'd make sure I'd get on the phone, stay on the phone for 2 hours. What do you got going? And try to catch up. And that's what your people that are competitive will do. You don't have to tell them to do it. They'll do it. And if they don't do it, they'll go away some point, okay? And those are the people you focus on. And those are the people that I focused on. So the bottom line is this, okay? What I hear a lot of people, you cannot recognize people that aren't doing anything. Rick said something earlier about not giving away your bonuses and stuff like that. Anybody that gives away their bonus money to their base shop people is in my opinion, not a very smart business person. You don't give away anything. You know what? People will die for something like this. How many of you would like to have a jacket, a letterman's jacket that has an incredibly embroidered thing with your name on it right here, Primeric Financial Service, has your name across it, you walk around. See, then we're going to, see what we got going? Is we're going to do this, and we're going to have, we're going to increase it. If you're an RM below, you got to do $15,000 in your base shop to get one of these. And then you get a $15,000 patch, right? I'm telling you, this jacket right here costs probably $175 or something like that. They will kill themselves for a jacket like that. And you can give them $100 or $200. It's not the same. And if they go kill themselves and they do it, they'll make more money, won't they? That's the whole idea. You don't have to give them money. Don't do that. That's a dumb thing to do, all right? Is this helping yet so far? Hey, another thing you need to do too, all right? When you're building a base shop, one of the things I've always done is I set the example. In other words, you have to be able to talk tough to your people. One of the things, if you notice, if you have a chance to listen to our people talk, they almost sound the same, right? Have you noticed that? Anybody noticed that yet? Have you had a chance? They all kind of say the same things, right? Well, we tell it like it is. People say, well, they must be doing something. There's some kind of secret. There is no secret. We work our behinds off, and we tell it like it is. And if you're a pansy, there's no room for you here. That's all. There ain't nothing easy about winning. What's easy about winning? Mostly it's a pain in the ass, winning. Except when you win, the recognition makes up for all of that. Okay? That's how it works out. I mean, that's kind of why everybody drives like crazy. Once you make it, it makes up. You forget about all that stuff. But what you've got to do is you've got to do it first. You have to go, for a 5-year period, from 1984 to 1989, I outwrote almost every month. I outwrote everybody in my base shop, wrote more sales, had more recruits, did more of everything for about 5 straight years, month in, month out. You know why I did that? Because everybody's always thinking, oh, I can't wait till I can get out of the field. Well, that thinking is not going to get you big. My whole thinking was, I have to be able to drive these people, and if I'm not beating them, I can't talk to them like the way I need to talk to them. I'd have managers meetings on Monday mornings, and I'd say, I can't believe it. Man, you're full-time, all you wrote was 2 sales all month. What the hell are you doing? What have you been doing on? What are you focusing on? Hey, listen, man, I have a base shop. I'm doing $50,000. I'm making $20,000 a month, $30,000 a month. I was in the field when I was making $80,000 in 1988. I was out in the field 4 nights a week, 5 nights a week. I was making $80,000 a month. Made $855,000 that year. I was in the field working, out working the guys on base shop. You know why I was? so that I can talk to them. I say, listen, what are you doing? I'm making $50,000 a month, $40,000 a month. You make no money, and you wrote 2 sales all month. What the hell are you doing all month? What are you thinking about? When you go home and you talk to your wife, what do you say to her? When you get up in the morning, what do you think about? When you're looking in the mirror, how could you stand it? Get going, get to work. And I talk to people like that, and some of you saying, well, I don't want to talk to my people like that. They might quit. Okay, well, I either want to get them going or get them going. Because if I have to look at their sorry face that's right there sitting all depressed, down depressed, the reason it's like that is they don't work. Hey, listen, some of the things I did, these are some of the things you got to do to build a base shop. I used to drive to a place called Santa Maria, which is 3.5, 4 hours from my house. I'd leave on Sunday, go stay at this guy named Sam Banning's house, who's not even in the business anymore, take my little overhead, right? I'd rent a little room to do an op meeting on a Monday night, do training, try to recruit people for him, right? I had a base shop. I didn't have that big of a base shop. I was probably doing $15,000, $20,000, $30,000 a month. I'd drive up there, do that. Nobody show up to the damn meeting, right? Only people that were already in the business. I spent that money, drove up there. I'd get in my car. I'd put my thing in. About 10 o'clock, I'd start driving home. About 1 o'clock in the morning, I couldn't stay awake. I'd pull over, park in a Denny's restaurant parking lot, call my wife and say, hey, Jan, I'm just too tired. I can't drive. I'm going to go to sleep for a couple hours. I'd go to sleep, right? Wake up 2 hours later, 3 hours later, drive home, sleep for a couple more hours, go do a Monday morning management and talk to them like I just was talking. Because I was working my behind off, I could do that. But if I was sitting home, not out doing it, you can't talk like that to people. I didn't have any problem pushing people because I was pushing me like nobody would work. See, that was one of the ways I got this thing going. Now, you might not want to hear that because, that involves work. But I'm sorry, I don't know any other way to do it. If there was, I'd do it. So I'd do that kind of stuff, and I'd go do a meeting, and then I hired a guy for Rick Susie. We hired this guy named Dave Harrison, who lived in Sacramento. And at that time, I was making about $8,000, $9,000, $10,000 a month, somewhere in that range. Had a $30,000 base shop, right? I would leave Ontario Airport, fly to Sacramento Airport. I did this 11 weeks in a row. I would fly there, leave my wife and kids, right? Fly, sleep on his couch. I didn't even know Dave Harrison. I met him one time. I didn't know him. I'd fly up there, sleep on his couch. We'd do op meetings in his living room, right? Take me to go see people. Sometimes I'd go. We didn't do any business, right? That was cost me $600, $700 a month, right? Got him going, committed to do that. Then come home and run my organization. Hey, listen. Now, I'm not saying you have to do that. I'm just saying the mentality is do whatever you have to do. Whatever. No limitations. See, because I knew there was going to be a time. See, I used to be driving home coming back from Santa Maria in my little 280Z that was a piece of junk, right? Building a business. I'd be driving home and I'd be laughing. You know why? Because I'd be focusing on what was going to happen in the future, not what happened that day. See, a lot of you think about what's happening right now as opposed to what's happening. You focus on the now as opposed to what's going to happen in the future. See, I've always focused on what's going to happen in the future. What's happening now is a temporary situation depending on what I do, right? Just like with you. Your situation right now, it's not permanent. It's temporary. It's either going to get better or worse depending on the actions that you take. That's the way it is. So I knew I was taking massive action, so I knew it was going to get better, right? And I could see and I'd drive by a Mercedes-Benz or something. I said, man, I'd laugh. I'd look and I'd smile. I go, man, I'm going to have one of those. I could already picture I'm going to have one of those. Or I think about that home that Jan and I would drive by, right? Beautiful homes and stuff we would go look at. Like everybody do that? Drive to those nice neighborhoods? Anybody do that? Everybody does that, right? And I'd be thinking about that. Man, this is going to be so worth it. I know nobody showed up, but that's okay. And I'd be thinking about where I was going and not where I was at. By the way, how many people drive by your house? That means you got to get to work. So you need to be tough on them. You need to be direct. Listen, most of you in here don't work. You don't. I know you don't. You don't even have to tell me. All I have to do is look at your numbers. You don't work. I know you want to work and you think about it, but you don't do it. That's a fact, okay? The fact is most of you don't make any money because you don't work. And some of you might be getting upset at that. Well, that's good. I'm trying to get you upset. Because as long as you're comfortable, you won't do a damn thing. You need to get uncomfortable. Hey, listen, I was telling my guys, these meetings pump me up like you can't believe. I'm already ready to go home. Talking to everybody, I can't wait to go home and get after it and start beating. I mean, we're winning right now, but we ain't doing nothing compared to what we can do. None of us are. None of us in this room, including me. I'm as guilty as anybody else. This stuff, this should motivate the heck out of you, just being here. Look at all these people right here. Everybody that's sitting next to you wants to beat you. And I know everybody's thinking, well, Hector ain't that good. I can get him. Hey, listen, that's good. Let's do it. Let's get after it. That's what I want to happen. That's one of the things we got to do. We got to get competitive, all right? We need to have that happen again in our company. It was the most, when I first came in, when everybody was competing and trying to beat each other, it was the most fun, coming to the meetings and talking to all the different people, talking to Jerry Byer, talking to, all these guys. They had base shops and going, and everybody's trying to be, hey, listen, all those guys, I respect the heck out of everybody. I love them. I love being around them. But I still want to beat them, right? And I know they want to beat me, and that's okay. That's a healthy thing, Now, another thing you need to do is you need to teach the fundamentals. You see, I think maybe an edge that we might have, is we're incredibly fundamentally sound. Our organization is very, very strong. If you notice, if you watch the leaders' bulletins, you look at code numbers versus premium, we're the best in the company. That's not my bragging. That's a fact. That's the fact. The reason for that is that our people are fundamentally strong. They know how to destroy cash value, universal life, variable life. They know how it works inside and out. They know how it works better than the people selling it. I make sure that. We make sure of that in our meetings. They know how it works, so that when they get in a situation across the kitchen table, we eat them up. Our reps do that. Our sales leaders do that. Every Saturday, we hammer that issue. Train like crazy. And then what I do in my base shop, once a month, I have an extra training on a Friday night from 2 to 10 o'clock. I'm from 7 o'clock to maybe 10 o'clock, and we go over those things one more time. And you know what? People say, well, how could you go over the same things? Because you need to get this stuff down so it's reflexive. So you don't have to think about it. When you're in front of a client, they say something, you can it's a reflexive response instead of going, I'll find out and I'll get back to you. That don't cut it. Right? You got to know it. So the only way to do that is repetition, right? Over and over and over and over. And you know what? A lot of people get bored doing it over and over. I still do a Monday morning managers meeting, which I lead. I do a Tuesday night op meeting, which recently I've been doing the whole damn thing myself every Tuesday night. I do a Saturday morning training meeting, from 8 to 10 that I lead, and then I speak at another one from 10 to 10:45 usually. And I do that myself. And then I fly to Vegas, and I do an op meeting on Wednesday night there. Hey, listen, that's how you get big. You say, I don't want to work like that. Well, then you don't want to win like I want to win, because I'll do it. See, and it's no secret. I'm telling you what I'm doing. I'm getting after it like nobody else is willing to get after it, and been doing that for the last 2 years. And everybody was thinking about what they should do. See, some of you still haven't got after it. You need to get after it right now. You got to quit thinking about what you got to do, and you got to get active. Right now. Stop putting it off. Hey, you know what? Have you noticed that regardless of what the times are, there's always somebody winning and somebody losing? Have you all noticed that yet? Like the last 2 years, a lot of people losing, but there's still some people winning. And I don't care. If you look in this area here, we're in Fort Worth, right? There's a lot of people that live in, is there some slums or some ghettos or something in this area? What do you think? Absolutely. Is there some nice areas where people live in $1 million homes or $500,000 homes? Absolutely. So what's different? Why do some people don't make it and some people make it? Because they make different choices. See, when they get confronted with whatever, the challenges of life, they make different choices. That's what makes them different. We all get confronted with the same types of things. Except when I was driving home after nobody showed up at those meetings, right? My choice was not to say, oh, Hector, poor, pitiful me, everything goes wrong for me, I can't believe it, I'm such a loser. I said, hey, listen, I learned a lot from that. What do I got to do so that next time this doesn't happen? How can I get better so I can get more people there? How can I teach that guy to know how to invite people so they do a better job? Instead of bitching and complaining, I was always asking questions, how could I get better? And that's one of the things you got to do. And plus, when you're building a base shop, it doesn't happen overnight. Hey, listen, I'm not an overnight superstar. The first 3 years in the business, I was a nobody. In 1984, I was paid $18,000. I did nothing, okay? In 1985, I made $35,000. The key is, this was a pivotal year for me. In 1980, see, because in 84 I was part-time and I made $55,000 at my regular job. So combined, I made $73,000, right? You see that? But the next year I went full-time and made $35,000 and paid out probably around $7,000 in reimbursement, so I actually made about $28,000. So what happened to my income in 1985? Went down the toilet. But you know what didn't go down the toilet? My attitude. What I thought about. Because I wasn't thinking about 85. I was thinking about 86 and 87 and where I was going to be and what I was going to build. And that's where I sold everybody when I was trying to build that base shop. So in 86, I made $86,000 in 1986. And I just kept doing it. Then I hired a guy named Rick Susie that year, and Gary McCrummon, and Todd Mendel, and Dennis Lang, and Verdugo, and some of these guys. Because, you know, the first 2 years I wasn't worth a crap, so I couldn't hire anybody. But I got better. See, I never stopped working at getting better. And then in 86, it started turning around for me. Did I make any money the first 3 years? I didn't make no money. 18, 35, 86, so that averaged out to about $40,000 a year. And I was making $50,000 in my job. Right? I could have in 1985, I could have said, well, this ain't worth it. I'm making less money than I was making before. I'm going to go back in the jewelry business. Go do that. I didn't do that. I said, you know what? That's a temporary situation. This long range has tremendous potential. If I do what I need to do, if I recruit enough people, if I become a good enough leader, if I do the things I need to do, then I'll change that. It's not, and I did it. I made 86. But then in 1987, all that stuff, all that work, the diligence, never letting up, staying focused, right, being tough, talking to my people like that, you know, letting them know I was going somewhere, that they can count on me. See, a lot of the reasons some of you aren't getting going, your people aren't sure that they can count on you yet. They don't know if you're that tough. See, a lot of my people came in and stayed with me just because they knew that I wasn't going anywhere. They knew I was kind of a crazy guy. A lot of times they say, Hector, man, you work so doggone hard. I said, that's right, because I want to win. Don't you want to win? And I talk to them like that because they'd be worried about working that hard. Well, you got to work that hard for a period of time, not your rest of your life. I don't work like that today, but there's a period when you got to get after it. And I was paid $409,000 that next year. Because some of you right now are making $80,000, $90,000, $100,000, and your goal next year is to make $150,000. No, that's ridiculous. That means you're not planning on working next year. You ought to have a goal to make $300,000 or $400,000. Heck, if you build a $50,000 base shop, on a $50,000 base shop, you ought to make $300,000 a year. And every one of you could build one of those if that's all you thought about from the time you got up to the time you went to bed. Not for the rest of your life, for a couple, 2 or 3 years. You all worked at some for 2 or 3 years anyways. What did it get you? Huh? Nothing, right? So look, you notice I'm a little intense? You see, everybody thinks I'm just a little quiet, nice guy. Hi, how you doing? And I am. But you know what? There's something inside of me that burns like crazy. You don't even know how bad I want to be somebody. You have no idea. Not at all. Nothing. You don't have the inkling of how bad I want to make it. How much I don't think I've done anything yet. How little I've done at this point. I have done nothing in this business yet. Not a thing. And I know it. I don't think I'm somewhere where I'm not. I want to make that perfectly clear. I have done nothing yet. Maybe about 10 years from now or 15 years from now, when they write the history books, maybe, but not at this point. I want that. You know why I'm saying that? Because I got some guys in here in my organization that they're a little bit tired. They've been working hard, and they think that it's not happening fast enough. They haven't worked hard enough yet. They haven't been at it long enough yet. They haven't been focused enough yet. They haven't been committed enough yet. They haven't done everything they could do yet. So for me to let up and stop, that hurts them. Just like for you to let up and stop hurts your people. You owe it to them to do that. Hey, listen, but you know what? It doesn't happen overnight, and you don't have to be a superstar. It didn't happen overnight for me, but you know what? This is the way you need to look at it. Let's take this, okay?
It's, let's say we're in, let's say January, okay? January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December, January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November. All right, that's 24 months, right? So let's say you're doing 2 sales here, and all you need to focus on. I know you're going to go away being eaten up by the competition. You want to win so bad, it just drives you crazy, right? I mean, some of you you're like almost depressed about the competition. Listen, I never let somebody beat me worry me. There's always going to be somebody. I always worried about Hector Marque because I could not control what everybody did, and I knew one fact that for sure was going to happen is that everybody gets tired. Not almost everybody. Everybody gets tired. Everybody. And if I can control that part of me, I'll catch everybody at some point. I don't know when it's going to be. Might be a year, 2, 5, 7, 8, 10, 12, but I'll get them because they will get tired. They'll blink. They'll look the other direction, and then as soon as they do that, boom, I'm right by them. That's always how I looked at this thing. So it doesn't matter where you're at right now. In 1986, I was nowhere. Look, now we're the belle of the ball, right? And I know I ain't going to stay the belle of the ball unless I stay intense. I'm not deluded to think that if I can let up now. I can't, and I don't intend to. All right, and neither can you. So look, but what if you do 2 sales, and then the next month you just grow a little bit? You do 4 sales, then you do 5 sales, then you do 5 sales, then you do 7 sales, then you do 8 sales, and then you do like 9 sales, then you do 12 sales, and then you do 15 sales, then you do 16 sales, then you do 14 sales, then you do, like 15 sales again, and then you do like 20 sales. You jump up, you have a good recruiting month, and then you do 19 sales, and then all of a sudden you get a little explosion. You do 30 sales, and then you do 31 sales, and then you do 35 sales, and then you get a little bit going, right? You got some mature people, and you jump to 40 sales. Times 600 is 24,000 times, say, 40% should be your average override. If you're working, you have a newer base shop, which would be, how much would that be? About $9,000, right? Huh? Okay, we'll round it down to 9,000, and your earn should be about, let's say, what? 1,000? Say $1,000, and your fans is about 500. And if you have smart, you should be making $500 there, and a bonus on 24,000 should probably be about at least 4,000 at least, somewhere in that range. And what do you got going there? You got, 15,000 times 12 is almost $200,000 a year. That'd be a hell of a place to be in 24 months, huh? Did you do anything extraordinary? Anything spectacular? Huh? Were you like a blazing star? No, you don't have to be. That's what I'm trying to. You don't have to be a superstar. If you're diligent and you see, the thing that we've always done, and Rick, Susie, and I, we're blessed that we were part of a business before where they got us to focus on growth like you can't believe. How many of you heard that speech I did in New Orleans? Right, a few of you, right? Our boss used to call us 5 times a day and say, "Where are you at?" That's where we got that from. Where are you at? 5 times a day he'd call at, like we'd open the store about 15 minutes out of the store. So where are you at? Well, Steve, nobody even showed up yet. Well, what are you doing? You calling some people? There are people walking in the mall? Go get them. Oh, okay. And then he'd call about an hour later, and then another couple hours later, and 5 or 6 times every day for 6 years for me, and every day for about 10 or 12 years for Rick. Every day, right? So what happened is we developed a habit of focusing on getting something done all the time. That's a habit. I didn't have that before I got in business. See, a lot of you don't have that habit right now. That's why you don't do well. You're not focused all day long. You're focused in spurts, 3 days a week. You can't get it going doing it like that. You got to be focused all the time. So it's been a habit with us. The other thing is we used to have to come into the store. I'd come into the store every day in the jewelry business, and I'd open up my notebook that had the business that we did a year before. That day, like that day, let's say today is, what's the date today? The 5th, right? I would look at the book and say, December 5th, 1990, we did $5,000 in business that day. And I go, okay, well, I automatically know my goal is to grow 20%. What does that mean? I have to do 6,000, right? And the minimum I could grow would be 10%, which would be 5,500. So I had to grow that much, right? So what we did, we focused on growth. That was the focus. So from the time I hit the floor to the time I left that night, all I focused on is how can I get 6,000, and I'll settle for 5,500. So we focused on growth every day, right? Most of you don't focus on growth. So when I got into business, all I focused on is can I make it grow this month? Like last month, we did $992,000 in business. So all month in November, all I thought about is I got to do more than 992,000 in my hierarchy. So we did $1,000,001. Okay? But all month, all I was thinking about is how can we grow over last month? Because if I can continue to do that for the next 10 years, what kind of business will I have? Unbelievable. And even like this, look at that. That's 24 months. So another thing that I've always done, all right, to get my base shop going is I've had contests, and you want to have contests because people don't work for money. Have you noticed that yet? They know that if they go write 10 sales, they'll make money, right? But they won't do it for the money. But if you say you could win a jacket, they'll go write 10 sales. It's amazing how that works, okay? But that's how humans are, right? So you need a focus. Kind of contests I would have is stuff like steak and beans, right? Nothing unbelievable. Steak and beans contest, you know what that is, right? Or we'd have a matchup contest where we match people up. And then what we do is you make sure you post it in where everybody can see it when they walk in your office. And you keep them all accountable. And so that if they do no business, you put big zeros, so you embarrass them, right? And if they do a lot, then you have stars or something to show what they're doing. And if they have any kind of competitive juices, they can't stand to have zeros. I'd come in, if I see my name in there, and if there was a zero, it would drive me nuts. I would go do whatever I had to do so that I wouldn't be embarrassed, right? That's how people get going that way. The other thing is you need to keep them super accountable. See, you need to keep people very, very accountable. Like what I would always do, what you should do in your base shop is you should get their numbers, what they're going to do at the beginning of the month, what their goal is, how they plan on doing it, and when you set up the goals, if you have a guy that's doing 2 sales a month and he says he's going to do 20 sales this month, then you got to take him aside and say, wait a second, let's reevaluate. Do you understand it's going to take you how many appointments you're going to have to do 20 sales? To do 20 sales, you're going to need 40 appointments, and you're part-time. You're not going to get 40 appointments in. Let's rearrange that so that it stretches you. You've been 2 and 2. You probably could do 8 or 10. All right, they're realistic because I want you to make a goal that I am going to hold you accountable to. That when I call you, I'm going to expect you to do it. All right, not something that's some pie in the sky goal. I want you to make sure you're going to do it because I'm going to be on your butt to make sure you get it done. So you have them set up goals at the beginning of the month, and then what you do, you break it down into quarters. Each week is a quarter, right? And you're calling them all the time. At the end of the week, you ask them where you at, right? What do you got? What do you have in? So if their goal was 4 sales, they should have 1. If their goal was 10 sales, they should have 2 or 3 sales, right? And if it was 10 and they have 1 sale, then you got to say, hey, listen, John, you told me you were going to do 10 sales. You're behind a sale and a half right now. What are you going to do? What do you have planned? What do you got going to make that up this next week? Because this next week, you're going to have to do 4 or 5 sales. Do you have that set up? It's already Saturday. What do you got set up for Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday of the next week? What do you got going? Because I want to make sure that they do it, right? And then what you do also in that same situation, you'll sometimes have people that set a goal of, say, they set a goal of 8 sales. But after the first week, they've already got 4 sales in. Right? That happens sometimes. So what we do right then is we say, listen, Joe, you've got 4 sales in already. That 8 sale thing was way too low. We need to change that. I'm going to change that to 12. Now, I expect you to do 12 sales. With the kind of momentum you have, the kind of team you have, you ought to do 12 sales. I'm not going to settle for anything less than 10. And you know what I know? As I'll probably get them to do 12 sales. I'll probably get them to do 10 sales. But that's more than he had planned on originally, right? So the ones that are doing well, you squeeze a little bit more out of, and the ones that are doing bad, you squeeze a little bit more out of. You see that? And if you have a big enough base shop, if you're real wide, you can do that with 7, 8, 9, 10 people. All of a sudden, you might get 3 or 4, a couple, 2 or 3 sales out of 9 people. That's an extra 18 sales a month. All of a sudden, 18 times 6 is another, about $10,000 in premium that you wouldn't have had if you didn't manage it. See? Just because you're on it and staying with it makes a big difference. And you got to keep them real accountable. And always ask, hey, one thing I always do, first question, I walk in the office, is where you at, man? Where you at? And I make sure, I love doing it when there's other people around, too. Because I want to either, if they say I'm at, they're doing well, I make them a hero. Man, that's fantastic. That's great, man. You're going to have the best month ever, and I make them a hero. And if they're not, I say, so what's the problem? So what's happening? Because I want to make them uncomfortable. See, your job as a leader is to make your people uncomfortable. Because if they're not, they won't do anything. Not to make them miserable, not to beat them up, but to make them uncomfortable. Because they're better than that. Like I would have a talk where I said, listen, man, Bill, you are so much better than what you've been doing. I can't believe you're not doing 10 or 15 sales a month, right? With your talent, the ability you have, the kind of person you are, the kind of wife you have, I can't believe you're not doing more than you're doing. You're so much better than that. Because, let me just tell you something. The number one reason why your people don't do well is they don't believe they can do well. That's it. It's not because they're lazy and they're stupid and all that. That's not it. It's they don't believe. And our job in running a base shop and leading people, our number one job is to get people to believe in them. That's our number one job. As soon as you can get people to believe they can do it, everything, it's all over. I was just sitting right here just before I came up talking to George Verdugo, and George Verdugo started with me about 5 years ago. He was a very young man, about 22 years old, and he struggled for about 3 years. We just talked. I said, George, you should make $500,000 in 1992. He said, I totally expect to make it. He said, I know what I'm doing. He believes now. He could always do it, but his belief level quite wasn't there. All of a sudden, it's there now, see? And nothing's really changed about George. George didn't grow that much. I mean, he's not that much sharper than he was a year ago, except what's changed most about him, he's hung in there, he's built it, he's making some money now, and all of a sudden, he thinks he can do it, which means he can do it, and he is going to do it. I fully expect him to do that. But what I'm saying is nothing's really changed except his idea of what he can do. You know what it's like? It's like this. How would you feel if you all of a sudden won a lottery? Like one of those big lotteries they have in Florida or California where, people win like $20 million, right? Which means like $1 million a year for 20 years, something like that. Let's imagine this. Let's say you're a little bit depressed right now, because some of you are actually a little bit depressed right now, right? A little bit down. Things aren't going like you expected them to, Christmas is coming on. You're starting to think about the challenges. Maybe you can't do the things that you want to do for your family, right? I mean, that's a real issue for a lot of people, right? What if, when you got back on Monday, you got a call that you won the state lottery, and all of a sudden, you know you're going to make $100,000, $200,000 a year for the next 20 years. Do you think you'd get excited? Would you get excited? Yeah, you'd get really excited, right? You start thinking about where you're going to be able to go, what you're going to be able to do for your kids for Christmas, what you're going to be able to do for your parents, all those things about how you're going to be able to buy a new home and move into a better neighborhood and upgrade your automobile, and you'd be thinking about all these things that are going to happen, right? You'd be so excited. You'd be talking to everybody, bouncing around, jumping, man, you can't believe that, man. My whole life's changed, it's turned around. Let's say it took, like for the whole week, you'd probably be totally out of your mind excited, right? But you know what? You haven't even got your check yet, because your check, it takes like 2 weeks before you get the check. So nothing has changed. Not one thing has changed. You don't even have the money yet, and you're all excited, right? You think everything has changed, but nothing has changed because you haven't even got any money yet, so there's nothing you could even buy or do at this point. It might even be a farce, right? It might be a bad joke. But you know what? Your whole attitude, your outlook on life, how you look at the future, how you perceive yourself, all those things have changed instantly, right? The minute it happens, it changes. But nothing has changed. Folks, that's how powerful your mind is. It doesn't even have to be real for you to get excited. It doesn't have to even be there for you to be excited. That's how I was about this business before it happened for me. I was just like that. I thought I won the lottery because I knew it was going to happen. I was looking at the future. I knew it. Folks, you have the same ability to do that. Every one of us does. Except that we tend to focus on what's wrong. That's what almost everybody in this company did for the last 2 years. All they thought about were the problems. And they didn't see there was a lot of great things, right? There was a tremendous amount of great things. Hey, listen, my income went down the last 2 years. But I still average about $700,000 a year. I still had 2 beautiful children that were doing unbelievable, both straight A students. I still had a beautiful wife that loves me. I still had a home that I lived in that had heating and air conditioning. I still was able to eat. I still had cars that were able to get me to and from. I still had a business that wasn't totally gone. I still had some people that were committed that I could still work with. I still lived in the United States where the only thing that prevents me from winning is me. I still had everything. Or I could have focused on what was wrong, which is unfortunately what most people do. You got to stop doing that. Because whatever you think about and focus on the most expands. And if you want misery and uncomfortableness and being in debt, want it to expand, keep thinking about it. That's what you ought to focus on. But if you want to make it, you focus on what's going to happen. Now, focusing is not enough, okay? You got to take massive action in addition to the focus. And that's what I did. I said, well, I can control me and what I do. And I work like crazy to do that. And nothing stays the same. That's a real key. You know, losers look at problems as permanent, and winners look at problems as temporary. That's a major difference in winners and losers, right there. Winners look at problems as temporary, everything's temporary, and losers look at them as permanent, devastating. It's the end of the world for them, right? Oh my God, I can't believe this only happens to me, right? You got to change that. So we got to get people to believe. Look at it this way. Most of us, unfortunately, we grow up in a negative society, right? I mean, if you look at the newspaper, it's frightening to look at the newspaper. Every now and then I do watch the news on TV if something comes up, and Jan and I, my wife, we sit there, we watch it, we absolutely crack up at how unbelievably negative it is. Every single story, like 97 or 8% of anything that comes on the news, on newscast, is negative. Have you noticed that? It's like a joke. And I know that there's problems out there. I understand that you have problems, but I also understand if you focus on them, they grow. So what I do is I'm not this Pollyanna. You know, a lot of guys make fun of me because I'm positive. I'm always positive. I'm ridiculously positive because I made a commitment to me that I was going to be the most positive human being that I ever met. That was a commitment I made to me, not to my wife, not to my kids, to me. That was a commitment that I made to look at everything as somehow potentially helping me. I made that commitment. So a lot of times I've heard people say, well, you could shoot Hector in the head and he'd find a way to make that positive. That's right. I would. I'd figure out a doggone way to make that work for me. Somehow I would. And you might say, well, that's easy to say. Well, it's not easy to do. I'm not telling you it's easy to do. There ain't nothing easy about being positive in this world. There's always something tearing at us to make us think the other way. But you know what? That's probably that bad guy that lives down below us or whatever you want to think, that's trying to get us going that way. That's kind of how I think. I'm not going to let him do that to me. I'm not going to let him get at me. There's no way. I'm going to fight like hell to beat that. And what you do is you start focusing on that, and you get your people focusing on it, and and you know what happens when you do that? Everything good comes from being positive. You need to create an environment in your base shop. You know why a lot of people don't come back to your meetings and a lot of people don't hang in there? Because it's not totally positive at your place. They did the Entertainment Weekly did a survey, and they surveyed people on why they go to see movies. 87% of the people that go see movies go to laugh. What does laughing do for us? It makes us feel better, right? So what does everybody want to feel better? 7% go there to cry, and 3% go there to scream. Okay? But the overwhelming majority go there to laugh, to feel better. So if you have an office that's not totally positive, you're going to lose a lot of people. I'm talking totally. No room, not one fraction of an inch margin for negativity there. I have a talk in my office, in my base shop, and it goes like this. You ought to do this when you get back. Hey, listen, guys, things are great. We're coming on a new year right now. I'm excited about it, but let me just tell you, I just want to reiterate a point that I've made before. I want to make it one more time. There's no room for negativity in this office. If you're going to be negative, I don't want you to be around. I mean no negativity. Zero. Nothing. Period. If I hear you're being negative, if I hear you bitching and complaining in the office or talking to somebody and they come and tell me that you were negative, I'm going to take you in my office and we're going to have a talk. And that talk is going to be, if I hear about you being negative one more time, I don't want you here. I want your butt out of here. I don't want you around my office. I don't want you around my guys. I don't care how much you do. I don't care if you're the biggest part of my base shop. I don't want you around. Because it's hard enough to build this damn thing without some bitcher, moaner, complaining, destroying it. And I won't let you do that to the rest of my people. I won't let you do that. I won't allow that to happen. I won't let it. I don't care who you are. And you don't think I have that talk? You ask my guys if I don't have that talk. Now, I'm not saying you're not going to have some problems and everything's not going to be perfect, but if you have a problem, you say, Hector, I need to talk to you. Let's go in the office. There's something that's coming up and I need some help on it. I want to get it fixed. Because, see, listen, I have a goal. I want to build something big. I want to build something gigantic, and I know that we can't do it with people like that. We can't do it where there's tearing down going on. We can't do it. And that's where our company's at right now, folks. Hey, if you're one of those people, we don't need you. You understand? You're more of a hindrance than a help. You know, I know sometimes you have a need to blow it out. Well, you know what? Go blow it out to your priest or your pastor or something like that, or your wife. But don't do it with your people. You're going to blow them out. They don't want to be there. They want to be involved in something that's positive, that's exciting. They want to come and get rejuvenated there. They want to have a place, a haven, where they know if they come there, they're going to feel better when they leave. That's how your base shop needs to be. A place where they feel better when they leave, not when they feel abused, but they feel better. It has to be that way. Listen, the future, I just want to say a few things about our company right now. I want you to know that I've had an opportunity recently to spend an awful lot of time with Pete and Judy Dawkins and some of the other key leaders, talking to them on the phone. I feel so good about where we're at right now, I can't begin to tell you. I know some of you still have a little bit of doubt yet. You shouldn't have any doubt. Hey, do something on faith. Get to work, okay? Get to work and do something great for your family. Forget about focus on building your people and helping them become more than they ever thought they were capable of becoming. Make that your focus. If you do that, your business, your income will grow, I promise you, all right? Another thing you need to do that I do a lot of is I teach people how to close sales, and I'm a fanatic about self-improvement. An absolute fanatic. And I know in the past that hasn't been the thing in this company, but I never listened to that when they were saying that before. I still did it anyways, which is one of the reasons we're doing well right now. It's not because I'm this great, magnificent leader. I mean, I'm not, okay? I'm a good leader. I live a good life. I work hard, but I'm not this extraordinary human being, all right? I grew up with 6 brothers and sisters, 2 parents, in a 1,000-square-foot home with 1 bathroom, with 5 women in that house. That's how I grew up. I didn't grow up in my dad was a laborer, I don't think he made more than about $1,400 a month his whole life, and my mom didn't work, okay? So you're not, I don't come from this special background. Listen, this is a place that's real special right now. It's very fragile. It can go either way right away. You notice how your business can go backwards or forwards immediately? It's so critical that you work on yourself and you develop yourself and you work on your thinking and you work on trying to become more than you are. Because, once you start making money, money doesn't mean anything anymore. Making money is not a big issue. We make a ridiculous amount of money. I save about 70-80% of my income every month. So I don't need that much money. So what drives a guy like me to keep going, right? Well, you know what? What drives me? My goal, totally, when I got in this business, was to develop people. That's what this thing is about. That's what it is. It's not about just you making it. It's about everybody else around you making it. You need to focus on that. We focus too damn much on us. If you focus on them, I get so much recognition and my income's ridiculous because I focused on them. And I still do it. And I'm going to keep doing it because they got people. Hey, listen, I'm not letting up. I want you to know that. I am not letting up. This is a total window of opportunity. We got something so exciting happening right now. Every one of you can do it. Every single last. Is it going to be easy? Hell no, it's not going to be easy. It's going to be a total pain in the butt. But I promise you, if you don't let up and you stay focused and you work on yourself and you grow, it's going to be so worth it, you can't believe it. Thank you very much.